Yo guys, what is up? It's P from PTV and welcome back to the channel. Today, here's what I've heard. I've got an episode for you guys revolving around the discourse in my Discord. The guys have been telling me that since the patch was released, you guys are feeling squishy, you're feeling like the enemies are hitting way harder, you're feeling like people can fly or just buffing the enemies and making us squishy to make their game last longer, all that to say, I think I've got a solution for you. So I'm sure by now that you've seen some of the other YouTube channels posting some of the standard defensive mods that'll be really good for you guys, and in combining those especially be really good. And those mods being things like damage absorber, mitigation from death, and emergency stance still has a place as long as you're combining it with other things. Now today I want to discuss with you guys some guns that come with defensive mods that could change the game for you guys, especially now that the new meta is geared towards combining some defensive mods to make sure that you can make the runs. In this list, I'm going to give you 5 total gun mods. I will, trust me, I will go into explaining them as much as I possibly can because on the surface, they may not look like they mean a whole lot, especially defensively. I promise you, they're going to help you survive. All right, this first gun mod is going to come from the gun Absolute Zero and is the tier 3 mod Ultimate Freezing Bullets. Now, especially if you're a gun first bullet build, this is definitely going to be something you want to consider. Why freeze, you may ask? Because simply this. You cannot take damage from enemies that can't do anything. If they're frozen, they can't move, they can't shoot, they can't attack you, then you don't take damage, right? Ultimate Freezing Bullets just makes a whole lot of sense, right? Especially if you're packing it on a double gun or a heavy machine gun and you're just spraying across the battlefield. Everything that it hits, aside from a few elites, are going to freeze, making things much more manageable. Now, with what I just said in mind, right, being that if the enemies can't move or do anything, that they can't hurt you, this number 4 on our list is going to be Weightlessness. It's a tier 3 mod that comes on the Airy Master Pump Shotgun. This weightlessness shot inflicts time rift enemies. Time rift enemies raises enemies into the air for 5 seconds. Now, something that comes with this and something that comes with the last mod that I didn't mention is these cooldowns are at 1 second. So you can throw these mods on the machine guns and it's like literally every bullet or 2, depending on the rate of fire, you're going to be inflicting weightlessness or freeze to make sure that your enemies are completely unable to do any damage to you. Number 3 is going to only be number 3 on the list because to me it seems very circumstantial. What I mean by circumstantial is, let's say you're running expeditions and you go to the expedition board and you find one that you want to play. Now when you're going through the ones that you want to play, you'll notice like, hey, maybe I don't really want to play the one with the insurgents, maybe lots of bullets raining down on me, maybe I want to play with one with more monsters where I really only have to worry about mostly melee attacks. Okay, this one is for the insurgents. This one is the anti-bullet expedition one. So if you only run this one in expeditions, you're going to see a lot of improvement in your defensive and survivability. Before we go any further, I'm going to ask you guys, if you're enjoying the content, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more Outriders videos just like this one. And because some of you guys like to get in my comment section and not actually watch the video, if you watched up to this point, comment down below, Techno Dance Party. Techno Dance Party. That should go a long way with making sure our discourse in the comment section, everybody knows who everybody is and we can call them out if they don't put it there. Thank you guys. Okay, this one is called Dome of Protection. It comes from the weapon Master Tools, which is a legendary, and the tier 3 mod Dome of Protection. Killing shots summon a bullet-stopping dome for 5 seconds. So if you kill something, a dome appears around you and it stops all the bullets. So it's similar to the Trickster Dome, right? So if you're not a Trickster and you want that, you could just simply run this on your gun. And if you're a Trickster and you don't want to use a skill slot on the dome, you could simply run this and basically run 4 Trickster skills at once. Like I said, this only does bullet stopping. I'm not 100% sure if when people enter it, they slow down as well, but it completely stops bullets for that. I also know there's a Devastator mod that stops bullets. This could be similar to that. Defensive mods like this could be the one thing that's stopping you from going through your expeditions on T15 and not feeling squishy whatsoever. There's a very good chance that if you find an expedition with just insurgents in it, that you would really only need this and maybe one other defensive mod, right? And it would be back to the pre-patch way of gameplay where you're only running 1 or 2 defensive mods max. Number 4 on the list, you guys know it, you love it. Emergency Stance. It's not Emergency Stance, I promise. But where Emergency Stance comes from is the Golem ability, which is typically a Devastator ability, right? Well, people don't want to use that anymore because the uptime on Emergency Stance is no longer relevant, right? It takes 10 seconds for it to cool down. It only lasts 3 or 4 seconds. It's just not good enough. But On the weapon Golem's Limb, we have Golem Rising. Killing shots grant you a protective golem effect for 3 seconds. So if you're in an expedition or you're just running around and you find a place where there are lots and lots of ads, every single time you kill an ad, you're going to get 3 seconds of golem protection. Like, what? That's 100% uptime as long as you're in the midst. As long as you're in the mix, killing stuff as much as you can, you're going to have that defensive mod. Now, because you need to be active, you need to be killing stuff, it's not as effective as Emergency Stance was before when it was bugged, because Emergency Stance, it would just hit it once when you get down to 30% health, and it would stay relevant the entire time. You didn't have to worry about uptime or maintenance on it or anything like that. You do have to kill things, but you're killing things anyway. They're time trial expeditions. You need to be running through the content and you need to be making sure that you can survive doing it. So as long as you're killing things, you're surviving with Golem Rising. The last thing I'll say, and this is number one, this is not a mod, but this is a simple idea that you could implement into your, what would you call it? Your theory crafting or your actual crafting of your character to make sure that you have the ability to stay alive. This is super important to me just because this is the easiest method that I found that, I mean, simply is the way that the game wants you to play and makes it more survivable. And that's putting certain attributes on your weapons, right? Whether that's weapon life leech for those who are running bullet build stills, or if it's skills life leech on all of your equipment to make sure if you're running an anomaly power build, every time you snap your fingers and you do a skill, that you're receiving some sort of health back. These types of things, although be it small, as long as you spec your character into them at least a little bit, you'll find that they're ridiculously overpowered. The game wants you to run around casting spells, spraying bullets everywhere, at least it says it does. So as long as you follow the terms laid out by PCF, you're going to have a little more survivability. I myself, the gameplay that you're seeing are my new Technomancer. Now, if you'll notice that it's a bullet build, on the gun that I'm running, I have Weapon Life Leech. It's so important to me. It makes sure I don't die. I find myself only running 2 defensive mods with it. And honestly, I couldn't ask for an easier class to play. Jokes aside, Technomancer feels like the easiest class to play. Anyway, if you found this video helpful, please make sure to drop a like on the video if you enjoyed content like this. Also, make sure to subscribe for more Outriders stuff. You know, every day, every other day, we try to post as much as we possibly can. Remember to comment Techno Dance Party down in the comment section below. And if you guys are interested in seeing more Technomancer builds or seeing my first Technomancer build, since I've started building this character, also leave that down in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one, man. Peace.